So it's been a long time, and I've been unsure of my plan for YouTube because I'm not used to talking to the camera and it makes me uncomfortable. And then finding the time to actually sit down and make the videos feels hard. But I wanted to tell you that tomorrow, well, it's already today, so never mind. Um, Today, I have a Pride event. It's called Pride Rocks. It's in my local town, and I've I have some stuff ready. I have a lot of inventory, but I have some stuff that are Pride themed because I have an event in June, which is my big Pride event that last year I did really well in, and I'm excited to go back. But this year, this one I picked up last minute. I had to pay the late fee of $80. It was like 50 if I would have gotten it on time, um, or even less maybe. I think there was an early bird price tag too. Anyway, I got in very late. They didn't. They just let me in. Which makes me a little nervous. But I did look through the vendors, and I don't see a ton of crocheters. I see a couple that could be crocheters, and I looked them up, and they are. I don't know why I said it like that. But I don't think there's a ton. I think there might be two or three more, which is fine. Whatever. It's not a huge event. This is the fifth year of it. Um, there's about 100 people RSVP'd to going, or 150 maybe, and then there's like 1,000 people who are interested. So obviously Facebook is not necessarily accurate for that information, but it does give me a little hope that it will be larger than the street fair that I go to. I just had a street fair on Thursday. Today is Saturday at 1 o'clock in the morning. um, and So I've been making Pride themed, and by Pride I just mean rainbow themed booty frogs. This is a free pattern on Instagram. I have 3 booty frogs. Um, 3 booty frogs done. I have trying to keep this in order because it's a mess. Okay, we don't want to talk about the desk. Okay. 2 leggy frogs in rainbow colors. I love how the rainbow kind of on this one. I love how it kind of went diagonal across the whole frog. And then this one it started very up and down, very vertical. And then it changed pattern because of, the legs and arms and such. But I love these. I think they're really cute. They do take me longer than the booty frogs. And so I'm tempted to not make a ton of these, although I should, because I think they're really cute. And I like the way, like I said, I like the way the pattern of the yarn works up on these better. So there's those 5 frogs. And then I made this Nyx, the dragon from the Celestial Homebody. I found her channel a couple months back, and I absolutely adore her. I wish we were friends. Um, uh, anyway, Nyx is one of her new patterns. There's a unicorn in the pattern as well. I have not made that yet. I did make her little unicorn. I have 2 of those currently. But Nyx is really cute, and I made him in rainbow theme. I also have 3 of those already in a bag in the truck. And I sold one on Thursday to a fellow crocheter, no less. And he had rainbow wings, but they weren't this rainbow. It was, there's yarn above my head, way up there. It's a rainbow E, but not actual rainbow. It's mostly pink and blue and yellow and... Okay, it's got a lot of colors in it. I'll show you later. Anyway, that sold. But this is way smaller. I used Posh and this yarn off of Amazon, which doesn't have a whole lot of English on the sleeve, so I can't give you much information other than it feels like it feels like the yarn that we use for scrunchies, whose name is Juicy Couture and is discontinued from Joann's. So it feels like Juicy Couture. It's kind of shiny like Juicy Couture. It feels just like it. It doesn't shed too much, and I love the color. It makes a very nice tie-dye color. Anyway, NYX is cute and tiny and posh. Much larger in Bernat. I encourage you to make it in Bernat, but so I have 20 on the Bernat ones and 18 on this guy, because he's just a lot smaller. And then I have two things that aren't Pride related. They're just octos. They're just snuggly little octos for babies. I made this one's eyes really long for some reason. But they're just little octos for babies, just little snugglers. Somebody requested one in just blue, and I haven't actually made that. It was they had one for an example, and it was in acrylic, and so I was asking them if they wanted like softer yarn or acrylic, and they kind of just said, you know, just as close as you can to this, but blue. So I will be making one of those in blue next time, and kind of just hanging around because I won't be back at that exact location, but I did tell them about my monthly market that should be. Anyway, I made some snuggly octos for babies. I have one more thing that I haven't finished that might just have to wait till June, unfortunately, because of the timeline. We're talking like hours. It's the zombie cat. I have one in rainbow already finished, but there is most of a second rainbow cat right here. Kind of looks like a maraca right now, but it's a zombie cat. I love this pattern. I don't love the details and the time it takes and the tiny yarn with the it's Big Twist Living. Rip Big Twist. But and maybe not with Hirschner's. But they confirmed that they're going to have some Big Twist yarn, but they only confirmed for sure the basically the worst weight acrylic stuff. They have not confirmed or denied the Posh or the Baby Bear or Living or any of the other varieties of yarn that I know we're like freaking out about a little. Anyway, so here's the cat in Living. It's a really thin yarn, and it's kind of frustrating to work with because it's really it requires, I have to use a 3.5 millimeter hook for this to be tight and nice. I can go to a 2.75. I hear something outside. Anyway, but then it's even smaller and more frustratingly tiny. I sell these for, when they're finished, I sell them for $35 a piece. And last year at the Pride event in June, I sold 5 out of 6. And they're in different varieties of Pride flag. I know it's not exactly the Pride flag. Sometimes the color goes back on itself and goes backwards a little bit. But it's Pride-ish. I don't know. People like them, okay? Anyway, I don't know why I'm arguing with myself. Anyway, that is what I've gotten done. I technically finished him tonight. I sewed him together. The octopus were yesterday. The frogs, all the frogs were today. I'm tempted to finish up the skeins just because I want to try to make this event. Anyway, I broke out my laminator. I have had it for years because of the homeschooling thing that I do, and I have not used it in years. And today I was like, you know what? I was watching the Celestial Homebody's video on her picture, like drawing, and I'm not that artistically inclined, unfortunately. But I was like, laminating makes sense, and I should have like left the tags or the prices off of them, like I did with like I did with this one, that it wasn't like I did with this one, but I didn't. So I have like prices on them, and then I can like tape them to the table or to the shelf that I have things on. The problem with my markets right now is everything is kind of just chaotic and thrown, like set up where I do that day. Like it doesn't have a place that it goes every single time. So I've been trying to make sure everything has a tag, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So I also made some that have names, and so like these can go on the shelves on the grid walls. Um, so I can, you know, people don't have to ask me because they don't tend to. I mean, sometimes they will, but sometimes they don't want to talk. Um, so anyway, I have these finished. I'm gonna work on finishing this. Let me see how much of the skein I have left. Okay, I have this much of a skein left, which will probably not get me a whole frog, but then I have another skein right here beside me. So I'll probably make one more leggy frog, or I don't really want to make a leggy frog. I don't know why. It doesn't take me any more. It doesn't. It should not take me any more time. But something about going back and like going. The booty frogs feel like they take less time. So I'll probably make a booty frog just because that's what my brain wants to do. And then I will go to bed. I did take a nap earlier today, so I feel like I am probably not completely wrecking my tomorrow energy because I took such a decent nap yesterday. But I'm going to finish watching this YouTube video that kind of motivated me to even post anything. And I guess I will see you guys later and explain how the event went. And I will even talk about the Thursday one then as well. So for now, goodbye, and I will see you guys later. Hey everybody, it's Molly from Out of the Barn Crochet Creations. Today is the very end of Monday, May 17th, 19th. Sorry, I can't keep track of days. We had an event on Sunday. It was a Pride Rocks event in Dayton, Ohio, and it was a lot of cool vibes. There were probably about 2,000 people there, was the estimate, by a police officer. There were probably 10 plus crocheters there. They did not try to separate crocheters from each other. Sorry, my nose itches. They did not. They actually put like crocheters. They actually put like vendors together. So they had crocheters together. They had 3D printers together. And so I didn't do great. I didn't break even until I had like an hour left of the show. So it was from 11 to 4. So, 11 to 12. 5 hours. So it was slow sales. Lots of people. I was in a weird spot. I wasn't close to other crocheters, but I was across the way from other crocheters. I don't think my area got as much traffic. It was a beautiful day. It was very, very windy. I have 6 grid walls attached to my tent, and it still threatened to come up. Plus my weights, my sandbags, and it still threatened to come up. I let another vendor borrow a couple of my sandbags because I was confident that the grid walls would hold the tent down, and because I didn't want their tent to come and like be on top of mine or me. Otherwise, like, the day was beautiful. There was live music. There were people that were happy to be there. I really like the atmosphere of Pride events. It makes me feel like, you know, people will accept you if you promise not if you don't act like a dick to them, basically. If you accept them, they'll accept you, and I like that kind of vibe. Um as a fat human being, I've been, you know, not accepted in all circles, and I appreciate, you know, don't be an asshole. Okay, we're good. Anyway, um both of my kids identify as in the community, so um I want to go out there and support these events if I can. And I wasn't convinced, and I'm still not convinced that I won't go back to this event next year. This was the 5th annual, by the way. And the hope being that some of the crocheters were like, "Hey, this is overcrowded and we'll leave or not be there next year." I don't know. But there was something that happened that really upset me. Somebody stole my Pikachu. Now, I have a couple big items, and over here is Charmander. Charmander's rather large, and he's the equivalent to Pikachu, which is what I made to sell. Charmander's mine. I'm not selling him. I might make another one to sell, but this Pikachu had a little Pokeball in his hands, and his eyes were needle felted, and his nose and his mouth were all needle felted. And I looked up the pictures. I found the pictures on my my camera. He's been with me since March of last year. I made him last year, and he's been with me the whole time. I haven't always taken him to the events, but he's been with me for over a year. And I was considering keeping him just because he matched with Charmander. The pattern is 1-Up Crochet. I love her patterns. Some of them are free. Pikachu's free. Free pattern on her website. And so is Charmander. Some of them she doesn't even have available anymore. Like Squirtle. I have the Squirtle pattern, but she doesn't sell it anymore. Or offer it as a free pattern. Anyway. So this is a big plushie. Okay, she uses acrylic when she has them, but I used Posh, and they came out big. So I have another one, and I'll show you. So I have not needle felted this Espeon's face at all, which will happen later. But this is Espeon. This is another Pokemon in Eevee Evolution, the psychic version. My favorite Eevee Evolution. And she's a little floppy because she's not quite as thick as Pikachu in them, but I love this Pokemon. And I'm not convinced that I'm going to sell this one, but I just finished it. I just need to do the needle felting, and I didn't feel like doing that tonight. Anyway, so Pikachu was about this size, right? Give or take. He was thicker, chunkier. It is Pikachu. Anyway, Pikachu was up front. I'll put in a picture of where he was in my booth. Maybe now. We'll see. But he was up front in, like, on the outside of the booth, up front, up high. I couldn't see him directly because I was behind, kind of almost outside the tent, because there wasn't a lot of room because I put the back wall up. And somebody stole him. Somebody walked up and took him, and I didn't notice until the very end of the event. And the police officer that my daughter went to go talk to about it said that she saw some man walking away with him, with a Pikachu, but he didn't look like he was trying to get away or anything. He just looked confident. I was like, yeah, well, thieves that are really confident and do it a lot know how to act. So somebody stole Pikachu. My $80, and I think $80 is a little low for something this size and this detail. And the needle felting, like, I'm only charging $80 for that. Nah, I think I'm going to charge $120. Not that it's going to sell right away or anything, but The point is, I had $80 on him, and somebody just walked up and stole him. And I'm not good with the stuff, so I was a mess. I was crying. I was like, you could barely understand me. They were like, none of the cops were available to take a police report, so they were like, yeah, go online and do it. And then my stupid computer autofilled the wrong address, even though I wrote it out. And they're like, they rejected it because it wasn't in Dayton. It was in my hometown. Which is not true. It was in Dayton, but the autofill made it look like it was in Dayton, or in my hometown. So that didn't even go through. Not that they would have done anything for an $80 stuffed animal, but like, it's the principle of the thing. That was something that I worked really hard on, and somebody got it in a way that did not leave me feeling good. Like, that was my hard work. That took hours and hours. This Espeon has taken me 2 days, and I haven't even gotten to the needle felting. So, if you include... So, I made $146 at this event. Like I said, not a lot. It took me almost 4 hours to break even. And then, my Pride Dino sold. It was a rainbow dinosaur. It sold for $55. And then I broke even. And then everything was lighter. And then it wasn't until the very end that I realized Pikachu was gone. If you subtract that $80 that I lost from Pikachu, I'm negative $20. Because it was $80 to get to sign up, because I was late. It was a late charge instead of early charge. So I think if I do this event next time, I will definitely try to get in earlier to save some money. Kind of knowing that it's not a super... that they don't vet the crocheters much. I can guarantee you that Pikachu was original to that space. That there was not another Pikachu the size of my head available for sale. Anyway, so I'm really pretty pissed off about that. There's nothing I can do about it now. I did make a little tiny Pikachu. Is he over here? Yeah, he's over here. I did make a little tiny Pikachu as like my little attempt at making myself feel better. It's really bright. He's got this pattern. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up. Is this it? No, that is not the right one. Loso Pika. Okay. On Instagram, shine.crafts. Shinecrafts. But shine, SHINE .crafts on Instagram. This is their Pikachu pattern. I don't remember if it's free. I kind of think it's not, since I have a PDF. But he's cute, and I think I'm going to make some more of him, because this one is already sold to a friend of mine. He was equally disappointed that I had lost my Pikachu to theft, and I made this guy out of Big Twist Baby Bear, so he's super soft. And then I embroidered his little cheeks. The pattern has little pink cheeks, but we know what Pikachu's cheeks look like in their red little spots. Anyway, that's my itty bitty Pikachu. After my really big Pikachu was stolen. I have Espeon. I've got a needle felt her face on. I've got 3 horses to make. I have Whiskey up here. That's the brown one. And then I have another spotted one who needs a mane, tail, and foretop. That's one of the orders. I got an order for 3. The pattern is from Notting Hook Crochet. It's her horse pattern. It's a great pattern. I love it. I immediately started making spots, which was not part of the pattern, but it's easy enough that I can just make spots. So I need to work on that. I need to work on those 3 for custom orders. I have another it is a custom order, but it's kind of like, don't worry about it, don't rush it. I don't know the name. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but it's an egg, a sad egg, a depressed egg. It's a Hello Kitty character, or a Sanrio character. And then I have this guy, which is just a black head right now, but I don't know if you can identify him when he has his ears. But with Espion, we are making, where's his face? The front of his face. We are making Umbreon as well. So like I said, this guy is huge, and I'm going to zip tie them to the shelves. Like, I'm going to make it like a chain so somebody can like pick it up and look at it. But they're going to be like, oh, it's attached. So they have chain of zip ties. So it can be held and like looked at, but you'd have to take a knife or something and cut it. So it's going to be a little inconvenient, but I think it's going to save me some heartache in the future to see my hard work just walk off like that. Anyway, the event went, like, it definitely left a sour taste in my mouth with the whole stuffed, it doesn't feel good to be stolen from, like, obviously. And I think part of me, I think, well, you know, you're a vendor, you should have thick skin about losing. This is part of being a seller is losing stock to theft. Walmart has it. You know, they have theft built into their prices and stuff, and they expect to lose stuff. Well, you know, Walmart didn't make everything that they have. They didn't make anything they have. I made this with my own 2 hands, and somebody took that from me and devalued my worth of it and said, I'm just going to walk off with it. And that feels really shitty. And I'm in the process of getting over it, but I'm still a little bit, I'm salty. I'm salty that somebody had the audacity to walk up and take something that I worked really hard on and just take it. But it is what it is. I can't change it. So, anyway, I can go through what I made, or what I sold at the event. That might be fun. That's not the right thing. Hold on. Sorry. Okay. So, last year I made some bandanas, cotton bandanas. And I sold one at the Pride Festival for $12. I sold a little purple octopus. They're itty bitty, for $6. I used Bernat with it, and it was just, I made a bunch of rainbow ones, but a purple one sold. A stingray I sold for $6. So I sold these 2 for $6, not realizing that my kiddo actually priced them at $8, like put a little price tag in front of them for $8. So a couple people got $2 off that, which is fine, whatever. I sold a $2 enamel pen. My battery's running low. I sold a rainbow hair scrunchie for $5. I sold a little gray bunny, that's my own pattern, for $16. I sold another enamel pen for $2, and then 3 more pens for a total of $6. I sold the Pride Dino, and I was flying pretty high by then because it was, like I said, the end of the day, and he sold for $55. I said 55, like I didn't have a price tag on him. I was thinking 60 originally. He was he was taller than Pikachu, but he was just like the dino pattern is not that complicated, but there was a lot of color changing because it wasn't just a pride dino. It was a um progressive pride flag. Like it had the brown and the black and the trans colors at the end, and I put that on the tail. It came out really cool looking, and I said the father and the daughter, like he asked how much it was, and I just 55, and he looked at her and she wanted it, and so like they bought it. I just blew my mind. So I was really happy then. And then an $8 stingray because I realized the price difference. And a blue octopus, just a little octopus, for 14. It was like hand sized. And then a pigeon, my own pattern. A pigeon sold for 16. And then another $2 pen. And I think that's like 146 total. My total's not here and I don't feel like doing it, but it wasn't a lot. $80 for the cost of the booth because it was last second that I decided to apply. And I was surprised I got in, but apparently they don't care. They just need the money, which I don't blame them. Like I said, I want to support the Pride events, especially in this like political atmosphere. I want to support the people that need it. And so, $80, it is what it is. But I broke even and I was making profit. It was only like $60 and not including gas and not including the parking fee, because we were in downtown Dayton. But anyway, the point is I was gonna come back, and I don't know now. I mean, I'm not blaming everybody that was there. The people were really nice. I just have to like process the rest of my feelings before I can decide that I'm going to go do that event again. And I feel betrayed. I think that's the biggest emotion right now is I felt betrayed because I was like, I felt so comfortable and so like, it was just really good vibes, and then that just ruined it. But anyway, so I made like $146, and then my $80 Pikachu got stolen, and it is what it is. So that was the event. For Saturday, and then Thursday, a few days before Saturday, a couple of days before Saturday, I had a street market, and I didn't do that great there either. Usually, like the month before, I made $180. So we sold $108 this time. It doesn't cost anything to go to the street fair. It's only 3 hours long. So we made some money, and it's better than just sitting at home. But I'm not getting a lot of sales right now, and it's getting frustrating. This year is just really hard, and I understand why. There's a lot of uncertainty, and I mean, there's still a lot of people without jobs too. Anyway, so I will go ahead and tell you what sold at this market too, since it was pretty recent. My daughter sold a Kirby. She made at last minute for $14. I sold a little beaver. There's a platypus pattern going around. It is a paid pattern, but it's really cute. And I took off its bill basically and gave it a beaver face with beaver teeth, and they came out stupid cute. I think I showed you, or it'll be in the video earlier, but they came out really cute. I sold one of those for 10. Dragon Nyx the dragon from the Celestial Homebody. Her pattern. I made a white dragon with rainbow wings. And by rainbow I mean not quite the real rainbow, but rainbow-ish. For 20. My daughter sold a leggy frog for $8. It was a very small leggy frog. It's in big twist living yarn, so it was super small when it came out. But it was in pride colors, which was cool. And then we sold a bee for 14. And then she sold a $6 turtle that she made. And then I sold a $14 bunny of my own pattern. And then we sold a $10 mallard duck. Little duck. And then I sold a $12 leggy frog of my own. Which I think was supposed to be 14, but the little girl came back like a billion times. And first she only had $10, and then she came back with 12, and I was like, I don't remember why I said it was 12, but I probably just forgot it was 14. Anyway, so speaking of all this forgetting and stuff, I have laminated some price tags. I have a laminator that's been sitting on a shelf in its original box for years and untouched. Did not touch it. I broke it out the other night, Saturday morning at like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, I need to laminate some of these price tags. So I did, and they helped a lot because I even labeled like leggy froggies on some of them and stuff, to go on the baskets on my grid walls and stuff, and on the tables. So that was nice. That was a nice addition, and that made things a little easier to identify, and I could look at the prices really quickly, so I don't have to tag everything. Anyway, that's kind of what happened for the last two events. I don't have another event until June. The first weekend of June, I have it's like African Heart Petting Zoo. That I will be at. I don't know what kind of amount of people will be there. I can't use words. What kind of amount of people? I don't know the expected amount of people to be there. It's an event to draw in people for their business, obviously. And I have 2 events there, one in June and one in July. And then June is really packed for me after that. I have, and let me check to just make sure I get this correct. I have once I find it. Okay. I have the African Heart Petting Zoo on the 8th. On the 13th is the Pride Festival that I went to last year. The thing that got me into it in the first place. We did really well last year. I've got all my fingers and toes crossed that we do well like last year, this year. My fear is that there's probably a lot more crocheters that have found that event because last year it was a first year event. We will see. Last year there was a couple crocheters, maybe even a knitter, but we did really well. If we do that well again, I would not complain. Because I need it. I need it so that we can feel like we're, I don't know. It just feels really hard this year. And then I have a Yellow Springs event with my friend Kat. That's exciting. And then we have that's the next day after the Pride event, the very next day. And that is supposed to be a huge event. I am so excited, but also really nervous. Um, but super grateful that my friend's gonna be there and that we're gonna like be able to tag team it. Um, and then June 19th is my monthly street fair. And then my last event that I have recorded right now is the 13th. Is the African Heart Petting Zoo of July. So I don't know how many more events I'll do after that. I have personal life events happening after that. And I can't be sure that I can go to crochet events. So, or go to vending events after that for a while. So, yeah. Anyway, that is the plan. And that is the update. And I'm just gonna make what I want to make and try to prep the best I can for the upcoming events and figure let whatever happen happen. So, on that note, I'm going to go. Thank you for sticking around if you did. If you're new here, I usually show you more stuff that I've crocheted. Everything is still in my truck. I have not unloaded anything. So I can't show you anything right now. But yeah, normally I show you stuff and it's a little more interactive. But anyway, thank you for being here if you're new or if you're a returning viewer. I will see you later and I hope you have a great day. I hope you had a better weekend than I did. Anyway, on that note, goodbye. See you later.